on like what STATA. You went over Fiza on like what is STATA and why we use it. You also went over like the interface of STATA, and then the data set that we will be using for this class, which is IHDS. It's a very popular data set. I think it's like pretty cool that we get to just start with IHDS because I also couldn't get to it till very later. And then we will be doing some, and then you did some basics of exploring the data. This included, describe, tab. Today we will be exploring the data in a bit more detail. So we will be talking about data types. How is the data stored in STATA? What are the different ways in which you can store data? We will continue with tabulate command, but we will look at like how to use the tabulate command when you have more than one variable, when you have two variables, and also how to use different options in the tabulate command. We will do a little bit of summarize in the exercises. We will look at labels and we will look at missing data, which we will, missing data is something we'll work with a lot in lecture 3. So this will be like a beginner sort of class for missing data. Again, at any point, if there's any confusion over what I'm saying, just, unmute yourself and let me know. Okay. So but before we begin all this, we're going to do something called macros. What macros do is they help us store information that you can call later. Basically, when you're writing a do file, there is some information, for instance, that you want just like easily accessible. Also, I wanted to say the way I like to like have these workshops is like it's better for me if people are participating. So I might be asking a lot of questions. I know it's like not as easy to participate over Zoom, but I would really like it if you could, if you participate with me. It just helps like me concentrate a lot more, and I'm hoping it helps other people also concentrate more. So what do you think, like, if when we're saying that it helps us to store information, so if you're running analysis over like a data set, what information do you think you would want to be easily accessible to you? Like any guesses?
The number of variables, the variables that we are using.
Okay. You would want that to be easily accessible, yes. Is there any information not about the data set that you would want to have?
The functions that are currently, the packages that we are currently using. Something, I mean, I don't know STATA much. I'm just
I know. I'm just like, I know this is, you don't have to have right answers.
Framework
I'm just,
framework of R.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically what macros help us do is like any kind of information that you want to have. And you can decide what information you want to store. You can store it such that you don't have to keep remembering it when you call it into the do file. So for example, what we're going to do, the example that we're going to use is how do we usually like load a file, right? And the pathway, this file pathway. So this whole thing of like users, Meghna, Dropbox, STATA, all the way up till like the data set. This is the same data set you used in lecture 1. And this is how you loaded the data set. Does everyone remember this? Just like any hands up is fine. I'm going to assume you do. Okay. Okay, thanks, Shelly. So what this means is that you're saying, go here in my computer and find this data set for me and load it. Now, you have to remember this file path every time that you use it. Moreover, other people who are like, obviously, I'm hoping that your users are like, none of you have Meghna as a user. You would have your own names or like the name of your organization or something else. So this file path will look different for you. When I was making the slides today, I had to use a different file path than what Fiza was using, because obviously Fiza is not a user on my computer. So when you have to remember these kinds of things, you don't want to end up writing all of this. You want to work just within like, a few folders. So what we do is, so if we need to keep getting data from this folder, by which I mean DS0002, So writing out this path many times during the do file can be annoying. And right now we're just working with one data set. If we end up working with 4 or 5 data sets, which are from different, folders, it can actually get very frustrating to have to write this again and again. So we use something called macros. All that the word macro means is like you can store some information in it, which like this data will remember that information. And so we're going to work with the command called global. Global means that it will store information throughout the do file. Once you give it this information, it will keep this information with it till you do a clear all, right? So here you can see what I'm doing. I have basically taken this entire portion right up till the folder, and I have given it a name called data folder. And then all I have to do is just use data folder. I don't have to remember anything else. If there are more files I have over here, I can just use data folder with this sign. What is this? The dollar sign, And if I have to save things here, I can also save using this dollar sign. So I think as like a first exercise, we should try and do this with our own file paths, right? So as you can see over here, I have, as always, clear, log close, and then like start your log. And can everyone see this? I think I should increase this maybe. Yeah. Is it more visible now? Like, is it better now? Any yes, hands raised would be good. Okay. Someone other than Shelly. So I know. Okay. So I'm just going to assume it is, unless someone interrupts me saying it's not. Okay. Right. So here, this is how I'm using it without macro. I'm basically calling the full file path. I'm saying ki, go to users, go to Meghna, go Dropbox data, and yahan se you use it. But all I have to do is over here. So if I do this, it will obviously load the file, but then I will have to keep using this again and again. I will have to keep like typing this whole thing out whenever I want to do something in this folder. But if I'm going to use this folder many times, I can just call it, for instance, data folder. I can call it something else also. I can call it like my folder, or, I can call it the folder of ds2 underscore folder, because that's the data set that we're looking at. And then what STATA will do is, STATA will remember that this file path is for till I do clear all, and STATA is going to be ds2 underscore folder, right? So here, and then this is how I call it. I call it by using the dollar sign, and then all I have to say is go to ds2 folder, which I have defined over here, and load this data set. A way to see, obviously use your display command. If you use the display command, it will show you what the macro has stored. So if you do display ds2, you will see it'll like here it is showing me that it has stored the exact folder that I had told it to. Okay, do we want to practice this once? Sorry, there's a chat message.
Why did you use the dollar sign?
That's how you call it. So if I just say ds2 underscore folder, then it's not going to know whether I'm just saying ds2 underscore folder or if I'm referring to the object in STATA, jahan pe we have stored this file path. So whenever you're calling a global, you have to use the dollar sign. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. So do we want?
I have a question. Can we use this macros for any other information storing other than,
Absolutely anything. Yes, absolutely anything. You can store, like I have stored a file path over here, right? Yeah. But let's say that you wanted to store something else. Give me an example of something else you would want to store.
The names of all the variables which were in the codes. I want to know like the full forms of it.
Okay, so macros for other uses, yeah. So let's say we just do a global. There is also another macro called local, but I want to get to that first after an understanding of how global works, okay? So global, let's say we call this variable underscore names. And suppose your variables are state, then it is household ID, religion, caste, groups, and then I can run this. And then whenever I do a display of variable names, it's going to show this information that I had stored. Do you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So right now I understand that you might be wondering, okay, what are the other uses for which we can use this command global? What's going to happen is as we do more and more of data cleaning and we learn how to do this, we'll realize there are many points in when we want to store certain information. And then these commands become useful. So right now we're introducing this with a very basic use, which is storing your file path. But then later on, we will have more and more uses. Okay. So I just want everyone to use the global. You can use data folder, my folder, anything to get to this data set, basically. And once you've done this, let me know and we can proceed. And on this, I want everyone to say that they've done it, and then we can proceed. Or just do a thumbs up or something. No. Okay. I have some thumbs up coming in. Basically, do this exercise and load this data set in your folder, in your computer. 36151.002 data. And if you're having trouble, then also let me know, because it's like when you're teaching on Zoom, then you can't, it's obviously difficult to tell if you're having trouble or not. And it's also difficult to learn, I think, over Zoom. So it's totally fine if you're having trouble. It just means I have not explained it well. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyone else who has finished this or who is having trouble? Should I just call people who have not finished and ask them if they're having trouble? Is that, I don't want to do that, but let me know if that's helpful. Okay, anyone who hasn't done it yet? I can't actually.
I couldn't actually do it. I'm still trying to do it.
Okay, Vinayakan. So tell me where you're stuck.
I mean, can it be my first command, to say global and to name something it's in the do file? Can it be my first?
Yeah, it can be your very first command. Do obviously do the clear before this, and then it can be your very first command. I'm going to keep this page open so you can all see. I'm going to make this maybe a little bigger. Yeah. Okay. So Vinayakan said that he's still working on it. Anyone else who is still working on it? Because I actually can't see everyone at once. So I realized the thumbs up idea is not very good because I can't see everyone.
Can I ask another doubt?
Yes.
How can I copy the file path?
Oh yeah, how to copy the file path. Okay, yes, that's a very, so I think if you have Windows, it is much easier. You just go into the folder. So it's for instance, this is the folder, right?
Yeah.
This is the folder. If you have Windows, over here, you will here or on top, you will get the file path. Just copy it.
I use a Mac actually, so.
Okay, so in Mac, you go to get info.
Okay.
And you'll see yahan pe there will be a where.
Okay.
Just copy that. And then obviously when you come here, you can paste it, and it'll work.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone on Windows have problem with like where to find the path? Okay, I'm going to move on. So we're going to move on to describe. Is there anyone who has not been able to load the data yet? Just unmute and
Meghna, can you show once again the do file sheet?
Yes.
We just
Okay.
missed one.
Yes, Ankit.
Okay.
Where are you facing the issue, Ankit?
I'm just looking at that how we can store the path into that macros command.
Yes. Yeah. So what you do is just like name your macro, and uske baad just, whatever portion of the folder is in the file path, just put it here. So then it will take you to this folder. It will take you to DS0002. And it will remember that that's the folder you have stored.
Okay, so this DS2 folder, it's like it's the name of macro, right? What is this DS2?
The name of the yes, this is the name of the macro. Exactly. So I have called it DS2 folder. You can call it anything. I can call it, my folder. And then all I have to do is it will just remember it as my folder. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually am getting an error message, which says that B not allowed when E in brackets E of B is not present.
When E of B is not present.
That's the error message.
Can you post the error to the chat group, like the exact message?
Yes.
This is the kind of message which should come when you are trying to do something with values that are already stored in STATA, which we are not. So can you also paste your code over here?
Sure.
Or you can send it to me directly if you don't want to share it with everyone, obviously, But when I open messages, can everyone see it if my screen is shared? No, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So if I open chat. Okay. Right. So I think if I was to do this, I would just put a space between X and the file path,
Okay.
And then I would put display $X also in quotation signs. See if that works.
So then have to like it should like one time to execute, or like then the entire thing get executed, or like I should go to each line and press execute.
You can execute all of it by just pressing do over here if you're using Mac. But otherwise, if you want to do one line, for instance, I want to do one line, I do it like this. Select and execute.
Yeah, it worked now. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now let's move on. I like this structure. Basically, if I'm going to assume you're doing well, unless you interrupt me, because I'm teaching over Zoom, and like it's difficult for me to see if like the thumbs up signs are coming in or not. So this means just feel free to interrupt me, please. Okay, so use command describe, which means just type the command describe and let's see what we get, right? Okay, before we do describe, we should also, just keep a few variables. I'm going to post this command on chat so that we all know this, and what this variable keep does, we'll do properly in lecture 3. But for now, just use this, what this command keep does, so that we are all working with a smaller data set. Okay, do this, and then let's use the command describe. Okay. Does everyone get something like this? Something like this. Okay, so let's go back to the slides and let's discuss what is it that we see. Okay, and for this, I want people to say things to me. Tell me what are like the different headings that you see over here. Anyone?
I'm getting error. It's say variable not found.
Okay. Variable not found.
Yeah.
Can you send your code on the chat, Ankit, ek baar? Just once.
Even I get the same thing.
Okay. Someone who's not getting the error, yeah, can you tell me like what are the different things that you're seeing when you type describe? What all do you see? I mean, it's on here, it's on the screen, but I just want to hear from you. Wait, okay. Have both of, okay, so Ankit and Vinayakan are getting errors, but like have both of you gotten the data set? Because the only way you'd get the error is if you didn't have the right data set. This one, 36151,002 data. Okay, Ankit, in your case, what you can do is ID14, just let it be, remove it from the command because we are not using it today. Vinayakan, I maybe would remove the period in the beginning of keep.
Yeah, I got it. I have used another file. So I guess.
You had used another file. Okay, no worries.
So I have just
okay. Amazing. So, okay, I want to get back to this. Now, it might sometimes seem like I'm asking really, really like basic questions. And the only reason for that is because every time I have to do something on Zoom, I start falling asleep. So that's why like I like to, engage a lot more. It's annoying, but we will persist with it. So here are the things that I wanted to see. We obviously get like, it tells us where this data is from, tells us number of observations, how many variables we have, the name of the data set, if the data set has a name. But these are the 5 things that you can see otherwise, which is variable name, storage type, display format, value label, and variable label. The variable name is pretty easy to understand. It is the name of the variable, which we were seeing anyway. Like when we went to browse, all the names that we would get. 1 second. All these names, state ID, IDHH, ID11, ID13, these are all the names of the variable. So that is pretty easy to understand. I will get to storage type in a bit. What do you think, like obviously, what is the use of a variable label? Can anyone think why we would need a label for the variable if we already have a name?
An outcome table, we can show that what is the exact name of that variable, because otherwise it is coded, I guess. So we can see that name the variable.
Yes. Right? Yes. Like if I was to just say key, what is ID11? Like ID11 is not a term we use. It is just a code. We obviously don't know what ID11 is. 1 second. Sorry, if you wants to see the do file. Yes, here is the do file if you wanted to see it. But here, like the variable ID11 does not have any meaning. So we use this variable label because it gives us a meaning. So ID11, for instance, is the variable religion. So now we know that ID11 stores religion. That's why a variable label is important. We will get to what value label does. But before that, I wanted to move on to first like storage type. Okay. So here you can see all these different storage types. you can see that there are int storage types. All of them are int except for this one, which is double, and then this one, which is string 10. Okay, does everyone get the same storage types when they're looking at this? Is there anyone who is getting like different storage type for their variables? Okay, I'm going to assume no.
I actually got stuck at the point like in the initial error, so I couldn't proceed.
Yes. Okay.
We are not getting this table actually. The command got run, but we are not getting this table.
So what are you getting, Ankit, when you put describe?
Nothing. It is not showing any message actually.
Okay, and when you go over here, what variables do you see here?
I see the same state ID, IDHH, ID11, ID13.
Okay, and then if you write describe and run it, it does not work.
Yeah, now I got it.
Okay, okay, great. And do you now get exactly what I have gotten?
Yeah, I have both the storage type and other things.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now everyone has the same storage type, I'm hoping, right? Okay, so basically what happens is there are two ways that you can store data in STATA. One is you can store it numerically. So if I want to create a data set of number of ice creams that different people eat every day. Okay, so I just like names of people and the ice creams, the number of ice creams they eat. This is my data set. This is my survey, for instance. Then it has two types of data. One is the name of people. Now, name of people is a string variable. String variable means that it's basically made up of characters, So there is nothing numeric about, my name is Meghna, then there's Anupriya, there's Fiza. There's no way to compare our names in a numerical way, right? These are called string variables. So if you want to store things like name, can someone give me an example of something else that is like name, which will be a string variable?
Cast name.
Okay, cast name is a string variable. That's interesting. We'll come to that. Something else that cannot be stored as a numeric. Variable label. A variable label will be a string. That makes sense. Okay, Ganesh says qualitative. Can you speak a little bit more about like what do you mean by qualitative? And you can type here. I know it's annoying, but like, I would much rather that we're interacting. Yes.
Yes, it doesn't have any numeric values as such. Like
okay. So give me an example of something that's qualitative.
Like we want to find something else regarding to gender. So it is it can be called qualitative. So how?
Yes. So yeah, you're right there. Like, give me an example. Like, what about gender will be like qualitative?
Performance of the girls and boys.
Okay. So performance in what sense? Gender, stratum, district. Okay. Sorry, I'm also reading from the chat. No. This is good. Okay. So let's Harmanendra, give you unemployment status, educational status, religion. Okay. Why are these string variables, you think? And if you can unmute, that would be great. If not, you can keep sharing on chat.
Yes. Okay. Like unemployment status, like you are doing in formal job or informal job, or like you are doing in agriculture, industry, or service sector job, and type daily wages or like this.
So
And
you're saying
education,
all
we
of
are doing
this
the
will be,
right
all of this will be
string
string,
variable.
because it is not
Right.
like, it is not like number of ice creams you eat,
Right.
monthly consumption. It is not, that
Right.
cannot be numeric. Okay. So you
Right.
are both right and wrong, you know. And I think it's very interesting that we learned this, that we think that, because often variables like this, employment status, religion, like let's look at the religion variable over here, right? Can everyone see this? ID 11, religion.
Yes.
And what is the storage type? The storage type is actually int. It's, which is, int is numeric. It is not string. So let's see why that is happening. Why, like, what seems to be like a string variable is getting recorded as int. And that is because of how so basically what we do is, these variables can be anything that we want them to be, right? So what I can do is I can create a database of names. So there are how many of us in this chat right now? I think around 20, right? 15 to 20. And I can give numbers to each name. So I can say something like JP is 1, Fiza is 2, Meghna is 3. And then by that way, I am converting a string variable into a numeric variable because I'm giving it numbers. Okay, I am categorizing it. So string variable, something like, let's see why by ID HH over here is a string. Okay, so we will do a browse. And do you see how, like, ID 11, which is religion, it has names. It's saying Muslim, and then it's giving the number that they use for it, which is 2, right? But it's actually in blue color, which means they're recording it as numeric. And what is the recorded value? You can see that here. Can everyone see where my cursor is? Like where my mouse is, sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you see this is basically, this is the recorded value. So recorded value for religion being Muslim is 2. The recorded value for state being Jammu and Kashmir is 1. So what they did is, you're saying that the state is Jammu and Kashmir, they would just write 1 over there because it makes analysis easier. We will see how. If you are OBC, then the recorded value is 3. But now let's compare it to a string variable. String variable. Do you see what the recorded value is? Can someone tell me what is the difference between recorded value of ID HH and ID 11? Anyone? And so I would really like to see more participation from the women. Even if you think you might say something wrong, it's perfectly fine because we are all saying wrong things all the time, you know. I will go over this slowly. So here, when you're at Muslim, which is a numeric variable, it is a categorical variable. You have categorized the different religions. You've said Muslim, I'm assuming there is Hindu, Christian, Sikh, you know. You've categorized them, and the recorded value is over here, which says 2. But when you look at IDHH, what is the recorded value? It is the same as the value over here, right? So ID 11 says Muslim 2, but the value just says the number 2. That's it. ID HH says 01, 02, 01, 01, 01, and the recorded value is the same. Can we see that? Is there? Okay, let's go over it once again. Maybe like let's try a different style. Oh, okay, Shelly said yes. But basically, there are 2 ways of storing things. One is a numeric way, in which you can give numbers. And string is like if you don't have numbers. So something like name, address are strings. Okay. And everything else can be numeric. So it does not even, like, religion obviously is not numeric actually, but it can be categorized into numerical quantities. So you can say that I will assign the value 3 to all Hindus and 2 to all Muslims, something like that, 1 to all Christians. And then you can get a data set in which you have numeric values and they're assigned to a religion. Anything that is numeric has the color blue, okay? So everything here is numeric and it has the color blue. Income has the color black because it is something called a double. A double basically means that it can have decimal points, okay? Whereas these, you will see they can't have decimal points. They're just 1, 0, right? And string means do not treat this like a number, okay? So IDHH, let's talk a bit about why household ID, or like this IDHH, is a string. Does it look like a string or does it look like a number? Anyone?
Looks like a number.
Just so looks like a number, right? It doesn't look like a name. It looks like a number, right? So why do we not want to use this like a number?
Because it's
Is
gonna
it
be
the same?
unique,
Because it's
unique
going
for
to be
every
unique.
for every household.
Okay, yes, yeah. It is basically, it looks like a number, but it is actually the name we are giving to a particular household, right? We don't want to add this to this and get like something, it looks like a number, but it is actually not a number. It is a unique identifier. And we don't want to treat it like a number, That is why we use this as a string. Yes, Shruti, that's pretty much correct. Whatever can be categorized will be numeric, not necessary. Sometimes a lot of people, for instance, just use, like, you can have religion and you don't need to put it as 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You can just say Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Sikh, whatever. You don't need to, but what it does is when you're doing analysis, it takes longer to type Hindu than it takes to type 3. So we will see that. And that's why people, like, only for ease of convenience, if you can categorize it, you make it numeric. Whatever is unique and like cannot be categorized, ideally should be a string. A string basically means I can't do mathematical operations on it. Okay, I can't do like addition, subtraction, or whatever. Okay. Another thing is, like, every time that we are referring to strings, we have to use the quotation mark. Okay, so like this is a string, but if I have to display a number, I don't have to use the quotation mark. Okay, I know all of this is like, it's a lot at once, but it becomes clearer, I think, once we go into how this stuff will be used, because it's when we start using it that it becomes like basically what we are doing becomes clearer. So now let's go to labels, as long as nobody has any like very pressing doubts about storage type. And then there is, in your slides, you will see that there is a link for STATA guide here. If you click on the link, oh God. Oh, I think the link is messed up. I will send a fresh one, where basically if you click on the link, it will take you to this page where all the details of the different numeric and string type variables are given, and you can go over it. Do doubles only mean decibels? Double is like a way, if you also want to, float also means, can also include a decibel, actually. A decimal, sorry. Float can also include a decimal. Double is, I think, if you want like a long, something that can store lots of numbers. So you can actually look at, if you Google storage types, what each of these is doing they'll tell you. String 1, string 10 is very simple. This just means a string of character of like length 1. So A, B, C, D, E, F. String of character of like length 10. And string L is like any number of characters are allowed. Okay. And you should go over this. You should Google this and go over this. And I'll share the correct link. I think this link is not working. I will share the correct link. And then we can go, and then, you can look at the link. Okay. Okay, now let's go on to labels. Is there any pressing doubts about storage type? Numeric versus string. Some confusion about why things that seem like strings are stored as numeric, but we will get to that. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Fareen. Yes, I do want more participation from women, please. Two types of labels, variable label and value label. So let's once again use the command describe, right? We discussed variable label. What do you think could be the meaning of value label? Like what is the purpose of label of variable is key, okay, ID 11 is religion, right? That is important for me to see because ID 11 makes no sense to me. I have no idea what ID 11 means. I know it means religion now because I looked at the variable label. Can anyone tell me what a value label might do? It's okay if you don't know because I'm asking these questions just for interaction. You're actually not supposed to know. But if you have any guesses about what a value label might do. Okay, let's try to see this by doing tab ID 11, yeah? You did tab in the last class. It basically shows you what are the different like values that a variable has and with what frequency those values appear, right? So now we looked how like if you go into browse and you look at, let's just do browse ID 11. It says Muslim 2, but the recorded value is 2, right? So if I actually, does this make any sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you tell what these numbers mean? Like, can you tell if you don't look at like these, can you tell, like, do you remember what 1 means or what 2 means?
This is basically, it is coded, for example, A for 1 for Hindu or 2 for Muslim, 3 for. So
yes,
it's showing
exactly.
code in this part of name.
Bilkul. So basically what it does is like here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which we have written because it is easier to do analysis with these numbers. But what is difficult to do is like I don't know what is 1, what is 2, what is 3. So then we have something, these labels that Hindu is 1, Muslim is 2, Christian is 3, sorry. Yeah. You know, all of this is known as a value label. You are not labeling the variable. So this is the name of the variable, religion, you know. But then the values that the variable takes, it takes values 1 to 9. But those values also need to have meaning, you know. So if my variable is, let's work this through. If my variable is something like, let's stick to number of ice creams I eat in a day. Does that need a value label or not?
No.
So if no, okay. Anyone else? Anyone who thinks it needs a value label? So suppose my data set is Meghna eats 10 ice creams a day, Pizza eats 5 ice creams a day, and JP eats 2 ice creams a day. Can I understand what this 10, 5, and 2 means, or do I need to attach a label to it?
Need to attach a label.
Okay, and what label would you attach to it?
Suppose your name and the number of ice creams you're eating, the number. Suppose
Yeah.
Meghna 5,
Mm-hmm.
and so on.
So what label would you attach to the number 5?
Okay, yeah, that would have to be an integer.
Yeah, so you don't actually need to attach a label because number of ice creams can be 2, 5, 10, whatever. But when I say what is the religion or what is the something like that, you know, which is not coming to us in 2, 5, and 10s. That is not how religion is presented to us. And if I then say Meghna has religion too, do you understand what that means? No. You have to attach a label to it. Meghna eats 2 ice creams in a day. You don't need a label because you know 2 ice creams in a day, she eats 2. Meghna has religion too. We don't know what 2 here means. We have to attach a label to it and then find out what that label means. So that is what value labels do. So if you go to browse, all of these are value labels. You know, so it says Jammu and Kashmir for state ID. That means that state 1 is Jammu and Kashmir. Otherwise, if it just said 1, we would have no idea what state that was, right? Okay, I'm assuming everyone has understood. If you have not, please ask a question. Anyone who does not understand the difference between variable and value label. Okay. Okay, so now we can also change these labels. We will do some work on changing the labels in of value labels in lecture 3. But for now, let's type help label and see what happens. Okay. Does everyone get something like this?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. 1 second. Yeah. So now this is telling you, if you do help label, it basically will tell you what are the different things you can do with label. You can label your data. So is this data labeled or not, the IHTS data? It is labeled because when we did describe, it said over here, like this is what the data is. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So let's just look at the first command, label variable. Okay. This says label variable var name label. Okay. So this is an easy command for us to try and figure out what is the syntax that is used in STATA. Okay. Syntax is basically very important because once you start learning how the syntax is used, what these different terms mean, then you will be able to like work with commands on your own. If there's a new command that someone gives you, you can just look at the command and use it. Okay, so things that have to be noticed in syntax is, what is the stuff in bold? The stuff in bold is always the command. Okay, so here the command is label variable. Okay, why is LA and VAR underlined? This might be something you remember from class 1. Can anyone tell me why we have underlined LA and VAR?
Because we can use as kind of short code. We do not have to write all the label variable. We can just use lab and var.
Yes. Yeah, so let's see this with the command we've been using, help browse, right? We've been using the command browse, and every time we write BR, and BR is underlined. That means that if you write BR, that means the same thing to STATA as writing the full command browse. Let's go back to help label. So what this is saying is label variable, you can also write LAVAR. That's the minimum you can write. You can obviously write more than that. So like, I don't like to write LAVAR. I like to write lab var because that makes more sense to me. So you can use that. What is var name? Var name is like, it is not in quotations and it is italicized. So what could that mean? What would var name over here mean? It just means use the name of the variable that whose label you are changing. So what is the name of the religion variable? Can someone look in the data set and tell me? Or what is the name of the caste variable? I don't like
ID 13.
I don't. It is ID 13. So I see that there is a difference in participation. What I don't like to do is like call people by name and ask them if they're following along. But I do have to say, like, I don't like that there is a difference in participation. So if this persists, I will resort to like that really like bad habit of like calling people and saying, for instance, like, hi Ganesh, what did you get? I don't want to do that. So please, this whole workshop and everything is for your benefit. So like participate. And if you're not following, tell me. Okay. Anyone else? So this is how you get it. Like the name of the caste variable is ID 13, right? So that is what will go in var name. And in STATA, in many, like when you explore the codes, you will see in many places they will use the name, you use this term var name, and everywhere it means the same thing, the name of the variable. And then label, which just means this label is in this like these like brackets, but we don't actually use the bracket. It just means ki like the label that you want to give it, right? So let's see how, sorry. Yeah, let's see how we will use this. So now we know that the variable, we want to name the state ID variable, we want to change it to just state. So we will write lab var state ID state. Okay. And once I do this, then you can come here and you can check that the label has been changed to state. Earlier it was like a long label. Now I've just reduced it and I've made it state. So I want everyone to change the label name of something, of like any like variable in their code. Okay. And let me know when you've done this. Okay, I'm assuming you have done it. Another command that we should look at is label list. So what is the variable groups? The variable groups is both caste and religion. Okay, so it's groups of caste and religion. Now we want to see what are the labels that they are using for different values. So we will do over here, we will do label list groups. And then see if you get this. So there basically 1 is used for Brahmin, 2 for forward caste, 3 for OBC, 4 for Dalit, 5 Adivasi, 6 Muslim, and 7 Christian, Sikh, and Jain. Did everyone get this? So if you want to quickly see what groups have been given, what numerical number has been attached to them, you write label list groups. We will use this later today in an exercise. Okay. Okay, we're a little behind on time, so I'm going to move ahead with two-way tab. Okay, anytime that you want to learn a new command, always start with help tab. Okay, so what happens if we write help tab over here? It will say that there are 2 tabs. There is tabulate one way and tabulate 2 way. One way we did in class 1, right? Tabulate one way was just with one variable, but we want to explore how 2 variables are related to each other. We want to see what is the religion what households of which religion don't get electricity or something like that, right? We don't just want to see how many households get electricity and don't. We are often interested in how variables relate to one another. So we use tabulate 2 way. And this is the syntax for how you use it. Now we have just gone over how to use different syntax. So this means you can use tab, you can put variable name 1, variable name 2. These mean conditions. You can either use an if condition, an in condition, or you can use a wait. We will get to this. And then after a comma, you can put all your options. So what are the options? Let's see. There are many, many, many options, right? We will focus on these options. We will focus on the option row and we will focus on the option column today. So let's start with something small. Let's start with tab ID 11 and FU1. Okay. So ID 11, if we all remember now, by now we all remember, is religion. And what is FU1? You can see over here, it is whether the household has electricity. Okay. So first, let's just look at these variables by themselves. This is tab ID 11. This tells me that in their data, 81% of respondents were Hindu, almost 12% were Muslim, and the rest belong to other religions. Tab FU1, let's see, what do we get? Household has electricity. No. About 13% of households did not have electricity. Yes, about 88% had electricity. Okay. And now let's do it for both. Tab ID 11, FU1. So what do we get? We get this table. Let's try to interpret this table, okay? So it's basically telling me for each religion, so for like Hindus, how many did not have electricity and how many had electricity. And it does so for every religion. You can see that these numbers are the same, almost the same, I mean, because there'll be some missing values. We will get to missing values later. Is what the tab function does, is that clear? It's basically showing me by religion who has electricity and who has not, right?
Yes.
Should we write the, okay, let's write the code for doing the same thing but by caste. What would you write if you wanted to? So first you would look for the variable on caste. The variable on caste is ID 13, right? And then what would you write to get this same information but by caste? Anyone?
Tab ID 11.
Tab ID.
Yeah, tab ID 13.
And FU1.
Yes, good. Yeah, so if we do tab ID 13, FU1, now we can see how many Brahmins don't have electricity and have it. How many, forward general caste, OBC, SC. Already, can you see some patterns? Already
Yes.
you can see some patterns, right? Like, so when you just do who has electricity and not, you're like, okay, 13% of people don't have electricity. But when we start looking by religion and by caste, we get a little bit more idea of who these people are who don't have electricity. Okay. But what is the problem with a table like this? Like, what problem are you facing when you look at a table like this? I mean, this table was very nice. It gave me frequency and it gave me percent, right? Very nice. But what is the problem with a table like this? If you present this table to people,
it is not giving percentage.
it is not giving percentage, right?
Yeah. Unable to compare.
Percentage,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you, Geeta. Yes, even if you're participating through chat, please participate. Yeah. So it is not giving me percentage. It is so weird if I go somewhere and I say, oh, out of 2,184 Brahmins, 134 did not have electricity. People be like, this is difficult for me to imagine and calculate through. So what I need is I need percentage. This is where these variables come into play. This row variable and this column variable. Any guesses what the row variable will do? Sorry, I'm saying variable. I mean the option row, okay? So let's go back to help tab, tabulate two-way. This was the syntax. Write variable name 1, write variable name 2, put a comma, and then use the option. And then come here, row. Option row means relative frequency within row, which means we will get the percentage within row. So let's try it. So we type tab ID 11 FU1, comma row. What is the difference now? Or let's stick to, let's stick to, actually we'll do that one later. Yeah. What is the difference? Can someone tell me what is the difference between this one and just without row? This is without row. This is with the option row. Like instantly, what is the difference you can say? Yeah.
Percentages are revealed.
Yeah. Renu, did you want to say something? No. Okay. So the first difference that I can see is that this is a smaller table and this table has more information, right? The first difference I can see is that this is a bigger table. What is the information this has? It has the numbers. This one also has the numbers, but it also has the percentages. And they are in a row. So what this is telling me is that of Hindus, about 13% do not have electricity. But from Muslims, about 16% do not have electricity. And for Christians, only about 4% do not have electricity. So now I can look at these numbers in percent. Let's do the same thing that we had done for caste. So ID 13 FU1 we had done, and we saw this and we were like, okay, I don't know what these numbers mean. They're difficult for me to compute, right? But let's say that I'm doing comma row. Now it's easier. Now it tells me about 6% of Brahmins do not have electricity, compared with 12% of OBCs, 16% of scheduled castes, and 22% of scheduled tribes. So do you see what the row function does? Okay, gives me the percentage in a row. So now can we guess what a column option will do? It will give you percentage in a column, right? So let's try that. Let's do the same thing. Tab ID 13, FU1, comma call. What is the difference now? Now it's telling you in a column. So here you could see key in one row, the percentages were adding to 100, right? They're all adding to 100. So it's telling me key of scheduled castes, how many households have electricity, how many don't. Now this is going to tell me of the households that do not have electricity, how many are scheduled castes. So the column will add up to 100. So this is telling me that of households that don't have electricity, about 26% are scheduled castes, and only about 3% are Brahmin. Is the difference between row and column clear?
Yes.
Let's do it with religion. Now this basically tells me that of the households that do not have electricity, 82% are Hindus and 14% are Muslims. But of the households that have electricity, only 11% are Muslims. Okay. So it's basically, it just changes what you're doing your percentage calculation in. And this is where now we will do a small exercise. Do you remember? Let's go back to help tab. What does this if thing mean? If is basically if you want to find out the relationship between variables, but only for a small subset, So you want to, let's look at this question. Explore how religion and household as electricity are related for the state of Karnataka. So I don't want to know for all of India. I only want to know for state of Karnataka. Then I will use, I think I deleted lecture. I think I deleted that file. Sorry. Right. So if I want to know for the state of Karnataka, what is the information that I need? I need to know ki, what is the state of Karnataka ka label? Label is Karnataka, but what is the number? So what will I do? I will do label list state ID. Okay. Let me put this in the. So this will now give me ki what is the label of each of these numbers. So then I will find Karnataka here. And I will say, ki, okay, if you come here, you'll see Karnataka is 29. So if I have to see for Karnataka, I have to use the number 29. Then I will do tab religion and electricity if the state ID is 29. So that means only for Karnataka. And then this is what I get. Okay. So now this is the exercise that I want everyone to do. What percentage of Christians in Karnataka do not have electricity? And of the households that do not have electricity in Karnataka, what percentage are Christians? You can say your answer out loud, or you can message it on the group, or you can also, if you want, you can direct message it to me, and then we can compare answers. Actually, that's the best one. Message directly to me. Okay. We have already seen how to do one. How to do one is tab ID 11 FU1 if state ID equals 29. And we have to put 2 equal signs because that's how STATA interprets it. We will talk about that more. But this is how we see for the state of Karnataka. Now I want you to use the row and column functions to figure out these questions, question 2 and question 3. Okay. And once you start getting done, you can message me. Yeah. So once you start getting done, you can message the answers to me directly. If you go to chat, you can do direct message. So like you will get some percentage answer, right? You will get some answer here. So you can answer like for question 2 and question 3, send the answer to me directly. So then I can see where we are, how we're doing. Okay, Ankit, you have sent me numbers, but I want the percentage.
Yeah, getting.
Yeah, so get the percentage, please. Okay.
You please show the question.
Yes, I'll show you the question. So the first question is asking, okay, what percentage of Christians do not have electricity? Okay. Yeah, again, Ankit, you've sent the answer as yes and no, but the answer I'm looking for is like what percentage of Christians do not have electricity? So in like the total number of Christians, what percentage in Karnataka do not have electricity? Okay. So I'm getting different answers from people. So this is already, which is good, which means we know where we are going wrong and we can see. But I do want more people to start sending me answers. And if you're not getting the answer, then just tell me that, like, saying that, like, I don't know how to go about this. I would like more participation from the women, even if it is to say that I did not understand what we are just doing. Like, that is also fine. Okay, Shelly, that's fine. Anyone else? Geeta, Sophia, Renu, Anupriya. I think Anupriya has left. Okay. So it seems like there's some confusion and this has not been understood. So let's go over this slowly. Okay. Tell me what has not been understood. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So let's just, like, what I'll do is I will share the lecture slides with you, and I will also share this code with you. And in the lecture slides, like I will change the slides to also have answers over here. Okay. So did everyone understand what tab two variables does? I want you to tell me if you did not understand this. Okay. Did everyone understand what it does when you do tab and two variables? Okay. Did everyone understand what happens if you do tab with two variables and then you put a condition saying ki if state ID is equal to 29? Okay, let's see. Does the order matter? Okay, so that's a question that's been asked. Does the order matter? ID 11 FU1. How to check? With STATA, just check it. ID 11 FU1. Religion comes over here, right? Tab FU1 ID 11. This will be electricity. Religion will come over here. So yes, the order matters in how the data is presented. Okay. So let me do tab. Let's go back to what we were doing. Tab ID 11 and FU1. So this is telling me by religion, how many households do not have electricity and how many households have electricity, right? Then we did key, this is for all of India. We want to find out only for the state of Karnataka. So we will do this. This will show only for the state of Karnataka, right? And now I want to make sure, like, what does it tell me only from the state of Karnataka for Christians? This is telling me that there are 62 Christians in the state of Karnataka in this survey, of which 2 do not have electricity and 60 have electricity. But I need the percentage, right? And how many people, how many households total in Karnataka do not have electricity? Anyone from this table, you know? And this is the last thing we're going to do today. So then we can end after this, but I just want to make sure that we're understanding the table.
214.
214. Yes. Who said that?
Vinayakan.
Okay. Anyone else see how we got 214? So if you look at this table, you will see that it says household has electricity, no, and yes. And the total number of no is 214. Okay. So there are 214 households in Karnataka that do not have electricity. And how many Christians are there in Karnataka in this table? 62. Right?
Totally 62.
Yes, in this survey. So now we have, the question is asking us, what percentage of Christians in Karnataka do not have electricity? So in the Christians, oh God, sorry. Means like in the Christians, what percentage do not have electricity? We will use the option row because this is a row operation. So we will go tab ID 11, 3.23. Okay, people have sent me messages. Good. But let's see if that's what we get. We'll do tab ID 11, FU1, if state ID equal 29, comma row. That's all we have to do. We do comma row. Now this is telling me the same information. It tells me that there are 62 questions in Karnataka in this survey. 2 don't have electricity, but it also gives me their percentage. 3.23% of Christians do not have electricity. Okay. And next it says, of the households that do not have electricity, what percentage are Christians? Which means like, how many households do not have electricity in Karnataka? We look at this number, right? 214 households did not have electricity in Karnataka. Now we want to see, out of these 214 households, what percentage are Christian? So we have to use a column operation. 0.93, and then now this will give me like 84% of the people that don't have electricity of the households. 84% are Hindu, almost 6% are Muslim, and 0.93% are Christian. Okay. So what we'll do is I will, before the next lecture, I think I will share, like I've shared the slides already, but I will share them again with some like answers coded in. I will share the do file. I will share some more exercises that we should have finished by the time of lecture 3. Okay. Is this okay? This is all for today. We were supposed to do missing data, but I want to make sure that we do this portion correctly before we go to missing data. Okay.
But I didn't get the files which you already sent. I don't know if,
Yeah, I haven't received any either. Sorry.
You have not received the lecture 2 files that I shared in
Yeah,
the chat
no
group.
presentation. Sorry, I haven't received any.
Okay, so then I will share the corrected, like what I will do is I will put the answers in them and then I will share those with you. And we'll possibly put in more like exercises to do, okay? And then we will finish them by the time for lecture 3 on Monday. Does that sound good?
Yeah, Meghna, like is there access for yesterday's, day before yesterday's sessions?
Yeah, we'll share those.